The Cincinnati Bengals look absolutely dominant and maybe the best team in the AFC after a 41-17 rout of the Baltimore Ravens. They are now first in their division and have about everything going for them, with one of the best quarterbacks in the business, a dominant defense, and one of the most electrifying players in the entire NFL, Ja'Marr Chase, who in his first 7 games has more career yards than any other player in NFL history through the first 7 weeks, and made the Bengals offense absolutely electric, going for over 200 yards versus the Baltimore Ravens, with the majority of those yards coming against All-Pro corner Marlon Humphreys. If you watch this video to the end, I'm just about positive I can convince you that the Bengals may have the best team in the AFC, and that they are seriously in contention to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And the best part about it is every key player on their team is not going anywhere for quite a while, with their roster being super young. Their roster has impressed me recently as I've been watching them very closely, but in my last video I said they have an average roster with an above average quarterback and weapons group, and I have to admit I was completely wrong. They have played as good as any team in the NFL through 7 weeks. Their defense went from 27th in the NFL last year to top 10 in the NFL this year, and after having only 17 sacks all last year, they've already surpassed that and have 19 in just 7 games. Chidobe Awuzie has emerged as a #1 corner and has played extremely well, while their safeties are as good as any in the NFL, Von Bell and second-team All-Pro Jesse Bates, who might be the best free safety in the NFL. They have one of the top young linebackers in football, Logan Wilson, who has top 10 in tackles and has more interceptions than any other linebacker in the NFL, and who has a huge presence on the field. They have one of the best defensive lines in pro football. They're 4th in sacks with 19 through 7 weeks after being last in the NFL in 2020. Trey Hendrickson has 6.5 sacks and looks like one of the best defensive ends in all of football. Sam Hubbard has been super consistent and has 4 sacks, and their defensive tackles are some of the best run-stuffing tackles in the league. Larry Ogunjobi has been a playmaker, and their new defensive coordinators doing exactly what they needed. And we haven't even talked about their offense, Joe Burrow or Ja'Marr Chase. If I'm getting you hyped, make sure to smash the like before we talk about this record-breaking offense. Alright, when we mention the Bengals offense, we have to talk about Ja'Marr Chase. Let's just say this guy is a guaranteed 7 points added to your score every week. He has a touchdown catch of 30 yards or more in every single game he's played in. He legitimately is creating the drives. He's not just a deep threat. You can see the chemistry with him and Burrow is absolutely absurd. Those quick 15-yard back shoulder fades are just about impossible to cover with their chemistry. Not to mention, he just put up 201 yards with over 100 of those yards coming against an All-Pro corner, Marlon Humphreys, who is considered one of the best cover corners in the entire NFL, and he put 200 on him. His run blocking is incredible. In this play versus the Lions, he catches up 10 yards to Joe Mixon and puts the defender on his back. Without that block, it's not a house call. That shows what kind of effort he gives on every play. With 754 yards in 7 games with 7 touchdowns, he's one of the most complete wide receivers coming out of the draft in the last 10 years and maybe ever. And people say they should have drafted an offensive lineman. Ja'Marr Chase has made more of an impact than any one player in the entire NFL this season. Let's just say he's a top 3 to 5 wide receiver in the NFL already, and he has more receiving yards than Davante Adams. Davante Adams in his 2nd in receiving as a freaking rookie. Mind blown. You know, I think he intentionally was bad in preseason as a joke just so he could come out and just destroy any defense there is. And the guy throwing him the ball is absolutely amazing, being 6th in the NFL in passing after having an injury that Teddy Bridgewater with the exact same injury took 2 years to come back from. And he comes back and is already in the conversation for a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL. He is completing 70% of his passes and has a 108 quarterback rating, and he's only 18 games into his career, and he's got to be by far the most competitive quarterback in the NFL. In this play versus the Bears, he stays in bounds, forcing the defensive player to hit him just to get a penalty. Let's just say that's competitiveness at its highest. And he just had maybe his best game ever, with over 400 yards passing and leading the Bengals offense to 41 points and 520 yards. And the other guy guys he's throwing the ball to are no slouches. CJ Uzomah came out of nowhere and is clearly Joe Burrow's security blanket, as he has 5 touchdowns in 7 games and made a play on Marlon Humphreys for a long touchdown pass that was extremely impressive. He is emerging as one of the top tight ends in the NFL. Tyler Boyd, 1,000-yard slot receiver. I just made a video on this, the top 10 NFL players you've never heard of, and 3 Bengals made the list: Jesse Bates, Trey Hendrickson, and Tyler Boyd. And Tyler Boyd is one of the best slot receivers in football and Joe Burrow's favorite target on 3rd down. And then T. Higgins, 40 yards short of 1,000 yards in his rookie season, and as long as he's playing, they can't double Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon is a legit 2-time 1,000-yard rusher running back. Samaje Perine is a very good second running back and has been very good at catching passes out of the backfield. The only thing I do not love is their O-line. In short yardage situations, they seem to get stuffed a lot on 3rd and 1 and 2nd and 1. They're very questionable. They're not bad, they're not good, but Joe Burrow does get hit a lot and they're not great in short yardage situations. But they are good enough to be a top team in the NFL, and they're decent at pass protection, but they could be a lot better. But let's just say I'm extremely hyped about this Bengals team. They're going to be around for a long time with a lot of their younger superstar players. I think they have one of the best rosters in the NFL. Let me know your thoughts on this Bengals team, if they can contend. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash the like. And if you love NFL content, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next upload.